banking. You think when you put money into the bank that that money belongs to you, but the truth is that when you give the bank your money, you're actually giving the bank your money. The bank owes you that money, but you're a creditor, just like you had sold them paper clips. So the money that goes into the bank belongs to the bank, not to you. Now, banks keep money in the bank so that when depositors come in, depositors can get the money out. The money that we keep in the bank is called a reserve. In the modern world, we can also keep our reserves at the Federal Reserve Bank. If you go to your bank and you say, hey, I want to take $10,000 in cash out, they probably don't have it. They don't keep much money in the bank, just enough to cover what they think people are going to come in and ask for. So we have a banking system. That banking system is called a fractional reserve banking system. Pretty much this is the universal system everywhere. What it means is that our reserves, if we're a bank, our reserves are a fraction of our deposits. So for every $100, $1,000, $1 million that goes in the bank is required to keep a portion of that, a fraction of that, in its reserves, and it can do other things with the rest. So when you put your money in the bank, your bank keeps a little bit and then does something to make money with the rest of your money, which isn't your money. So we have legal requirements of how much they have to keep in the bank. We either call that a reserve requirement or required reserve ratio. Either one of those words works. In America, they go anywhere from 0 to 100%, depending on how risky the deposit is. The riskier it is, the more of it you have to keep. But for the most part, you can just think of our reserves as being 12%. So just assume in your mind that banks have to keep 12% of whatever you put in them. Somebody walks in the bank, they put $1,000 into their account in the bank. Really, you're just giving that bank $1,000 and they're marking you down in their books. Now, the bank can turn around and make somebody else a loan of your money. Now, how much money is there? Wait. The bank made a loan. You had $1,000. They loaned out $500. There's $1,500. The bank just created money. Let's think about this. You put $1,000 in. The bank has to keep 12%. That's $120. We called that the required reserves of the bank. It can do something with the rest of it. The bank has $1,000 in reserves. Those are its actual reserves. You put in $1,000 in cash. It has $1,000 in cash sitting there in its vault. That's a reserve. The bank has $1,000 in reserves, but it's only required to have $120. So here we go again. We put $1,000 in. The bank has to keep $120, but it has $1,000. That means it has an excess, what we call excess reserves, of $880, and it can do something with that. If everybody comes to the bank and tries to take their money out, we're in trouble. Most of the money in the world is created by banks making loans. But every time they make a loan, that means somebody put money in, and not only does that person think they have their money, but now I loan that money to somebody else, and they think it's their money. A whole bunch of people end up owning, in their minds at least, the same money. And if everybody comes to the bank and tries to take their bank money out, we in big trouble. So again, when a bank is making a loan, that bank creates money. When a bank makes a loan, it creates money. Most of the money in our world is created through this process of banks making loans. And again, money is just sitting there in a computer. Money, for the most part, is just bits and bytes in somebody's machine. And again, what matters is our faith. We believe that if we go to the bank, we can get our money out. We believe that we can use that little plastic card in our pocket called debit and get our money out. And as long as we have faith, as long as we have faith, everything is going to be all right. What happens if we don't have faith? It's literally called a bank run when everyone runs to the bank to take their money out. If the bank has 12%, that means that most people, when they go to the bank, are going to get 0. The first people there will get their money. The later people won't. Okay, we have deposit insurance. Your money in your bank account is insured by the federal government if you have it in a good bank. And so you can get that money back, but really the bank doesn't have your money. And you might see a whole bunch of people running to the bank trying to get their money out. How are we going to save Gotham City? I just gave you a hint, and we'll move on and see.